Anywho, so what did uh, Kitty went to college, and who was the other daughter who went? Oh, it was your mother. It was your grandmother, Grace, who Thomas put through college at Millersville.
Well, that was Millersville. Emma, Grace was the oldest, and then the next daughter was Emma, and she also graduated and taught for 1 year, but she was crippled the rest of her life with rheumatoid arthritis and spent her whole life in a wheelchair. I have a picture of her with the boy, Thomas. Oh, I should copy that picture and send it to you if you don't have it.
Well, so so the oldest daughter, Grace, had rheumatoid arthritis?
No. The oldest was Grace, and she was my grandmother, and
Right.
she married Samuel Emanuel, who was the Welsh
Right.
coal miner.
Yeah.
And her sister's name was Emma, and the two girls graduated at Millersville, and both of them taught school. But Emma came down with rheumatoid arthritis
Oh.
and could only teach 1 year and spent the rest of her life in the house there where you visited.
Yeah.
In the house, in a wheelchair, had a very sad, painful life.
Oh.
But her sister, my grandmother, and Samuel, they took care of her, and he kept her in the house, living with them the rest of her life that she could live.
You mean in the house where Thomas built?
Yes.
Grace and Samuel did?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. And when you walk between the dining room and the kitchen in that house, if you look at the wood on each side of the doorway, there's a gouged place on both sides. Her wheelchair evidently couldn't quite make it through, and they had to dig out on both sides so her wheelchair
Oh my gosh.
goes through. It's a lot of special memories in that house.
Well, did Emma? She never had any children, right?
Emma, no, she had children. She raised her brother's children. When my father was the engineer, I told you, graduated from Lehigh and married my mother, and he took the first job he was offered, which was PSEG, Public Service Electric and Gas Company of New Jersey,
She had just graduated.
She had just graduated, but her father was very fond of her, and he said, I'll tell you what, when she came home to start teaching, he said, I'll tell you what, Kitty, you teach for 1 year, and if you still, at the end of 1 year, want to be a nurse, I'll send you to nursing school. So that was in June when she came home. And then my mother died in August, and I was a 2-year-old little girl, and my baby brother came to live in the house there to be raised by the grandmother and grandfather.
That was Grace and Samuel.
That was that. The grandparents, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that you're saying that was Emma's child? That
No, my father and mother were married.
Yeah, no.
When he graduated from Lehigh and went to work, he went to work in New Jersey.
What was his name again?
Robert.
Okay, Robert, and then your mother's name was?
Marie. Marie Franz
Oh yeah.
was her name. She was a nurse. Anyhow.
She had a daughter, and then she had a son, but she died in childbirth.
Yes, and so the baby who was born in August, my baby brother and I, what was my father, 27 years old, a new engineer in New Jersey, going to do with the baby was a blue baby, and you know what that meant. Take them home to Nesquehoning, and mother and father will raise them.
Huh.
Okay? So that was the plan. So in August of 1929, we arrived with the two. That's what arrived. And Emma started teaching in September and looked forward to it, and because her father said, if you teach 1 year and still want to be a nurse, I'll send you to college to be a nurse. All right, that was September she started teaching and helping her mother and father to begin raising her brother's 2 children, me and my baby brother.
Yeah.
That's where I came. She didn't have any children. She was just got out of college. All right. So she starts teaching in September, and the following February, her father died in the mines.
Oh my God.
So and there was no such thing in those days as insurance of any kind, nothing at all.
Yeah.
And here it was her mother who had a heart condition to begin with, and she and her mother were all that was left to raise me and my brother.
So your grandmother Grace was she had a heart condition?
Yes.
Oh.